Last week, I attempted to build an entire Sims house using only 50 objects. And as you can imagine, the house was pretty empty. We didn't have like any landscaping. I was even trying to justify not putting a mailbox because I wanted to use a computer so bad. I think I really underestimated just how many items usually are in a Sims house. And so today I want to revisit that challenge, but I'm gonna give myself 100 items to work with instead. This is the house that we built last time, and it's not bad. I guess it's just not good. On the inside, you can especially see that object count in effect because we didn't have like any decorations. We've got bedrooms that just have like the basic necessities. I'm actually impressed that I managed to get like a single toy for these kids. The computer was also, I think, an impressive feat, but like there's not a mirror in the bathroom. We don't have an indoor trash can. There's not a single piece of decor on the walls. The only landscaping is this one single tree. And I'm really curious to see what we could do with double the object count. So I deleted everything and I'm gonna use this exact same shell but furnish it with 100 items. Wish me luck with the counting of this, by the way, because it is not going to be pleasant, but I have high hopes that we can pull this off. I really cannot come into this like too overconfident because I did that last time and I feel like it ended very badly for us. We also had a lot of discussion last time about like what counts as an object. I decided that fences weren't really an object, stairs weren't really an object, but obviously like the doors, the windows, the column, all of the furniture that I'm gonna put in the house, those things are objects, but like you can't really count the roof as an object, so we just left that stuff out. Last time I really wanted to do this and like use the two windows but scoot it together to look like one window, but then I had to delete it because we didn't have enough objects, so I will get my windows back. And I also wanted to have windows like on the side of the building over here. I had to delete those too because I wanted to have like, you know, a fridge, but this time I am keeping them. I will have these windows. Well, now I'm kind of wondering if I could do anything to like change the kitchen because I really hate how I had the door. Like I really hated how the door was over here. I guess it might be okay once there's some more furniture. It just felt kind of weird when there was like nothing in the house. Okay, but do you see how fast the object count goes up? Because I haven't even started furnishing and we are already at 23. So at this point last time I was getting a little bit stressed. I think we'll be okay this time, but I'm probably gonna stop working on the exterior until we finish the inside. Okay, it's maybe a little bit bold to like start off by putting in decorations in the bathroom, but I think I really want to have at least a couple things in here. And then if we have to like delete the towel to replace it with something else later, that's fine. I might also get an extra light in here. And for some reason, last time I was using a bunch of like really cheap appliances. I don't really know why, because this isn't like a budget challenge. Like I'm allowed to spend money on the furniture. I'm just not allowed to buy furniture. That's the difference. It might be silly to buy upper cabinets, but I like the idea of it. I think I'll try and get an indoor trash can too. Maybe not that one. Maybe like, how about a fancy one like this? Okay, last time I also had to delete a bunch of my dining chairs because I had too many. I guess I originally had the dining table like over here in the corner. Do you think I can pull off these chairs or do they like really not match? Because I want to have a bunch of like grays and dark colors in here. I don't think that rug is gonna work, but maybe these chairs will work. And if we're being really brave, maybe we can have a plant on the table. And dare I add a painting as well? We still have like half the object count left, so I think we should be okay. One thing last time that I kind of didn't like was that I didn't really feel like I had a proper entry. I wonder if I could try and like add a column inside, if we get like a real doormat. I think with like the doormat and the coat rack and maybe a plant as well, it sort of feels like more of an entry room. I want these curtains, but they snap really weird. Why do you do that? Look at how it looks. It's because I sized them up, but like, I don't want the curtains to snap there. Who hangs curtains like halfway below a window? I guess we do have the seasons curtains and they come in gray, so maybe that's kind of cool. Oh, we could probably get a thermostat too. Look at us adding in like actual gameplay items. This doesn't count as an extra item because I'm just replacing the light that was already in here, but I might get a different ceiling light to have like more of a pendant above the dining table. Okay, and one other thing that I struggled with a lot was the size of this living room. I guess I could always just make it bigger, although I hate how the outside of this house looks. I don't know, but we can always just make this one tile bigger and then we can maybe do a little bit more with the inside. Do any of these look nice or do I hate them all? I actually, no. Maybe that one with the gray. I've got a lot of dark wood in here though, but let me go back to the same shell because I feel like while I would like to expand this room, I would also like for the shell to be the same as before. Oh, did I count this object? I don't remember. I'm gonna count it again just in case. I'd rather overcount than like undercount and cheat. You know what? I don't think I want the second couch, so I'll just replace it with the coffee table. I feel like this is maybe a slightly better layout than before. Okay, absolutely despise that rug, but I don't really know what to use instead. Is this one, that's too big. This one will also be too big, I assume. Yeah, but then like this one is too small. This one is too big. I don't know what to use. Okay, maybe that one could be all right. Although maybe not for this orientation of the room. I think I may have to resort to this rug. I don't like the colors of it, but I feel like it might be the only one that fits. Okay, I really do not like the colors of this house right now. This is not good. I'm not even having like object count problems. I'm just having like decorating problems. Like I'm just doing a bad job. I do love that Seasons bookshelf though. That is a nice bookshelf. Am I getting to a point where I need to be worried? I've used 69 items. So that leaves us with 30 to do 3 bedrooms and all of the landscaping. You know what? I'm gonna delete this lamp and I'm gonna replace it with a bed. I'm gonna use a bed instead. I actually might go for a very similar color scheme to before, and also maybe a really similar layout. It was honestly pretty good, and I'm not really sure what else I would change about it. Should I put more furniture in here or should I leave it? Maybe I should try and decorate the other rooms first and then like come back and do little bonus things, because we only have 25 items left, so maybe I should actually start worrying. Okay, this is like a slightly tighter layout. Am I doing too much? Is this too much? Am I doing too much? Is this too much? Let's do this room too, just in case. Last time I used a double bed on purpose because I was worried about having enough like stuff to fill the room. At this point, I am still worried about that, so I think I'm gonna use a double bed here too. I'm kind of wanting to use a desk, but I'm not sure if that's like too many items. Maybe instead of a computer, they can have an easel. I could probably use these like little decorative canvases too. And I can put paintings on them. That's like one item that looks like a bunch of art, so that's good. That's kind of similar to something like this, where it looks like a bit of a collage of artwork. So it's still just one item, but it looks like I got multiple. I might delete this bathroom towel. I think the bathroom towel might have been a little ambitious. And I will replace that bathroom towel with a table on the patio. Last time I put like the woodworking table. Oh no. Okay, maybe I won't do 4 chairs. Maybe I'll just do 2 chairs. Let's replace those 2 chairs that I already counted with like some trees or something. Yeah, last time I put a woodworking table, and that was nice and all, but I'd like to have something that maybe fills in the space a bit more. We also need to put a trash can. It would be very useful to have one of those. And I'm gonna force myself to put a mailbox. There's not gonna be any mailbox debates today. I will place one. That leaves us with only 5 items. How do I keep doing this? How does this keep happening? Should I get rid of the toilet paper? We'll leave it for now, but I might end up deleting it. Oh my goodness, we have a guest. Oh, and my headphones are caught in her tail. We've got a guest to help us finish this. I feel like it's probably okay if we don't landscape the back. I think I would just love to have at least something in the front. I'm not really loving this. I don't think this looks very good. Let me delete all 3 of those. And then what if I put like just 3 bushes? Oh, okay, bye. No, that's terrible. What are you doing? She's clawing on my chair. I bought a cat scratching post for this room for that very reason. And she uses the scratching post. Look at her. Okay, she's back. Okay, well, no matter what, I'm allowed to have 3 things because I already counted them. What if we did something like this? Maybe I could put it into a bit of a planter box. Okay, she's laying across the keyboard, so give me a second while I try and manage this. But maybe something like that would be nice. I don't love the color of the walls anymore. They're not really speaking to me. I don't really think I loved it before either, but maybe we could change it. We could have like some brick on it. I don't like that either. I would rather it just be all white if I'm gonna do that. And honestly, the all white looks better. It does. The brown was weird. I don't know what I was thinking. It made no sense. This looks a lot better. 1 object. We have 1 object left. What else can I delete? I feel like this toilet paper needs to go away. That puts us back to 98 objects. With that, maybe we can afford to get like a bookshelf or something in this room. I feel like it needs to have a little bit more furniture, so I feel like that helps round it out a bit more. Everything is functional. I just feel like it's kind of lacking on the outside, but I don't know what I can do with just 1 item that's like gonna have a big impact. That's no good. That looks terrible. Maybe we go around and do a bit of terrain painting first, just because that doesn't cost us anything, and that way we could sort of think more about like what feels really empty to us. Because I will say the back of this looks terrible. Like this is really empty. I guess I just don't know what we can even do to fix it. I do feel like the inside is nice. It definitely looks a lot more furnished than it did before. Maybe we could go back and swap this desk out for like a table. Although what am I gonna replace it with? Like, maybe I'll just make that 100th object be like a doormat or something. Just to have like a little bit of furniture outside. Is that like fine? It definitely looks better than it did before. Obviously you can tell that it's a lot more furnished, but I feel like going into this, I thought that we could do a lot more with 100 objects than we actually did. But I guess a lot of that object count got eaten up by things like upper cabinets. That was 4 extra items. I put in 2 extra chairs and another table. There's curtains. There's a lot of decor that we didn't have before. But even with 100, I still feel like I want to do more. I think that the landscaping was definitely an afterthought, but I guess that makes sense because obviously, ideally, I want to focus on having like functional gameplay objects like the easel and the computer and stuff like that. I'd rather have the easel than like a plant. I was also being very ambitious with the bathroom. When I put the toilet paper and the towel in there, what was I thinking? I should have known. That was honestly a brave choice. You know what else is interesting? Before, I was using a bunch of fake rugs. Like last time, I had used some like fake flooring to make a rug underneath the dining table, but I didn't feel like I needed to do that this time. I did it like right here because I only had the 2 chairs and the table was kind of small. I felt like I needed to put something underneath it and I didn't have any objects to use. But I didn't even put a rug underneath the dining table this time, but I did use a rug here like as a doormat. I also used a fake rug in here and I had no rugs in the bedrooms. But I do think that these 2 rooms are okay without rugs right now, and I think that the main bedroom definitely looks better with a rug. It's also fun using like sort of the same furniture just with extra stuff. This was the 50 item house, so you can tell even from the outside we had a lot less going on. Like I didn't have that extra window, we didn't have the plants, and then on the inside the furniture is similar, but it looks a lot worse. It's way more sad on the inside of this building. Here's the comparison of the 2, and you know what? We made a lot bigger of a difference than I thought. I still feel like the right one looks a bit empty, maybe more so on the outside than the inside, but even 100 items is not enough to furnish a tiny house like this. Imagine if we had tried to build on a bigger lot, like it would have been a disaster. Well, there you have it. That is our attempt at building a house using only 100 objects, and yet again, we have been humbled. If you liked this video and you haven't seen that 50 item episode, I'll link that down below. And if you like Sims builds or like build challenges, I do a lot of content like this here on my YouTube channel, so feel free to subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. Have the best rest of your day, and I'm gonna catch you all tomorrow, okay? Bye, everybody. I love how the cat just showed up for like 30 seconds of attention just to make her presence known. She was like, oh, you're filming? Okay, well, let me just pop in for a sec.